Oh wow, it's getting late in the year. Oh, later. The stiff sound of typing sporadically resounds through the fast space. The only other sounds to be heard are the low whirring of a fan and the occasional clicking of a hard drive. I've calmed down and run some investigations. I've fully become an automaton, or perhaps an AI, sprinting across cyberspace for the sole purpose of seeking out information. How many hours have passed since this all started? Perhaps starting to have these thoughts is a sign of fatigue. I rest my hands, disconnect my biocomputer, and lean back in my chair. Didn't realize it was this dark until after returning to reality. Is the sun about to set, or is it about to rise? Nowadays, I can't even tell the difference. My head throbs. Perhaps a break from extended connection is in order. According to the desktop clock, it's just before 7 p.m. This search started around noon on July 21st, so...
たったの7時間?
Felt like it must have been at least 20. But in reality, it was less than half of that. Has time gone amiss? Let's check the live camera that's been set up outside. The camera captures the slowly darkening peach-colored sky. Shining in the west is the evening star, my star. The clock was right. Refers to Venus shining in the western skies. When dawn approaches, it can be seen in the eastern skies, hence its other name, the morning star of the dawn, Ake no Myojo. This is a bit off topic, but the kanji for morning star, Venus, can be read as Myojo or Akari. When the first Ishtar, Akatsuki Akari, was in Anunnaki, she held the nickname Akari of the Dawn because of her powerful abilities. In contrast, the current Ishtar, Shinosuke Mayumi, calls herself the Evening Star. That name shows her modesty, her determination to end everything herself, and her respect to the real Ishtar. Apparently, the passage of time differs in real space and in cyberspace. I've never been connected to cyberspace for this long before, so I've never experienced it personally. Reminds me of Rip Van Winkle. In that story, Rip Van Winkle returns from the mountains, and when he arrives home, time appears to have passed several times faster in the outside world. That's an understatement. A short moment's rest in the mountains, a sad reality waiting back home. It's like waking up from a dream and getting slapped in the face with reality and a dash of cold water. Speaking of dreams, it's said that with only 90 minutes of sleep, people see a single dream, or perhaps one could say one story, during which we experience time flowing several times slower. So much so that the phenomenon is described in the Chinese masterpiece, The Handan Dream. During the Tang Dynasty, there was a man who went to sleep in an earthen tea house in the land of Handan. There he dreamed the vicissitudes of fortune of an entire lifetime, which lasted only a few minutes in real time. In this way, the Handan dream, Kanta no Yume in Japanese, has become an idiomatic phrase linking the vicissitudes of life to an empty dream. Sometimes confused with a butterfly dream. While similar, they're a bit different from a Handan dream, also known as a vain dream of wealth and splendor, or just vain dream for short. Butterfly dream. When Zhuangzi woke up from a dream where he spent 100 years as a butterfly, he suggested that perhaps this current reality might be a second in a dream that a butterfly is having. Also describes a state where you can't tell the difference between dreams and reality. Whenever you go through endless monotonous work like this research, you have to shut out all thought. So once you leave room for idle thought, the brain just keeps going and going without any sort of logical coherence. These last few thoughts haven't even been related to my real objective all that much.
よし、一旦頭を整理しようかな。
I try to cheer myself up a bit before standing up and turning on the light for now. Then it's off to the kitchen space. A proper thought process requires proper preparation. Let's take out some original blend coffee and set up the coffee maker. Before long, the fragrant aroma tickles my nose. The aroma only gets stronger once I pour it into a cup. Drinking it black like this will restore Ishtar's thinking ability back to 100%. I bring the cup to my lips, The acidic-tinged bitterness runs down my throat to my stomach.
さて、
A tingling sensation penetrates to every pore.
始めましょうか。
I pour all the coffee into the pot and bring it to my seat, which you might as well call a cockpit. Let's savor the coffee and sort through all the data obtained so far. Not much of it is new information. The current situation surrounding Code. Code's actions have roused terrorists the world over, causing the rise of global terrorism. Every counter-terrorist organization of every nation has begun putting all efforts in retaliation, but their numbers have been easily overpowered by the rapidly progressing invasion, and thus results have been poor. The world's gradually decline into chaos.
奴らは甘く見すぎたのね。そして、気づいた時はもう遅かった。サイバーフォース。彼らだけでは、この事態の収拾はつけられない。ここまで混迷した状況を打破できるとしたら。
One person comes to mind immediately. A certain urban legend. First-hand sightings of and encounters with the enigmatic hacker He have exploded on cyberspace. Many of them are probably mistaken sightings or fabrications, but the number is still unbelievably high. There's also no shortage of phenomena that common sense fails to explain. We encountered that one person back at Exarch's center as well. Everything points to the conclusion that he exists and is working towards achieving some sort of goal.
やっぱり、He はどこかにいる。
To me, that's no belief, it's a fact. There's also one more thing about He that's concerning. It's the signal that the Rosary sent out the other day. The signal's true nature is still unclear, but with every passing day, the theory that it indicates He's current location becomes more and more convincing. He has appeared in real space, that too as hope. But if He has indeed been actualized in this world, then what's going on? What does it all mean? What is He's goal? The legendary genius hacker is hacking reality? How? Speaking of genius hackers, there's also the matter of the hacker group Anunnaki, progenitors of Babylon. I know Anunnaki's secret origin story as well as Babylon's creation myth, and One-sama's involvement with it as well, or at least the big picture is derived from information scoured from all over the net, verified rumors and speculation, and the stories One-sama herself would recall from time to time. I know it's not the whole truth, but it's at least extremely close to it. Let's confirm the details later with the progenitor of Anunnaki herself, Anu that is, Yayoi-sensei. The tragedy, the misfortune, as well as the chaos that fell upon Anunnaki and his homeland, Babylon. It's not hard to imagine what One-sama and Anu must have felt at the time. Were their cheerful demeanors a means of coping with the past, or were they the result of strength used to overcome that past? The collapse of the community they built with their hearts and souls, I can understand their sadness, their grief, for I too have experienced it firsthand. Speaking of communities, concerning Lemchan's fan club, DlorW, Lem, the rarely seen fairy of Babylon, her charming nature and her low encounter rate have instantly elevated her to the status of Babylon's mascot. Disregarding whether or not the fairy I encountered earlier was the genuine Lem, there is no doubt that she is becoming a key to the mission. The Lemchan faithful at DlorW must also play some sort of role, hard to believe otherwise. And that's the gist of everything currently investigated so far.
よし。
I put down the cup and turn to the monitor, and start a new search on the net. A search for DlorW. Lunar Excursion Module. Welcome, here is the infinite and eternal paradise. The Ark of Mystery invites you to the fairy realm. You are Lemchan's 101010101th fan. I can't tell you just offhand what that is in decimal. This is a fan site run by DlorW. Their logo has an odd animation loop. DlorW members connect here day in and day out to post on the forums, or just to lurk, read but not post. Posting aside, anyone can browse this forum, but there's a VIP-only forum for important information exchange that's completely membership-based, so unregistered users, non-members, can't even read the archives. Would have been better to scope out Lem's fortune-telling, which is rumored to be run by Lem-chan herself, but, well... When I went there to go check, I ended up waiting forever with no sign of Lem-chan showing up, so I gave up. Apparently, an encounter with Lem-chan is quite the rare event, even on that site.
BBS を読むにはDlorWに入会しないといけないのか。
Of course, there's always the option of cracking into the server to steal login passwords, but that would make it a little too awkward to try and talk with the members.
ちょっと、いや、かなり嫌だな。
The DlorW community is home to Andras, the one who previously stalked Magdalene, and in the end drove criminal to its destruction. It's psychologically hard to accept. But this is for the sake of investigation, something that nobody else can be asked to do. I nod to myself. Besides, this is clearly where my fate mixes with Lem. Our dearly departed friends at Criminal can't rest until the riddle of Lem, Una, Null is solved. And so...
頑張る私。Oh!
I click on the Register Here button and rush through the process. There's really not that much to the admissions agreement. Just a few important items. To be in DlorW is to love Lem-chan from the bottom of your heart. To be in DlorW is to have complete affirmation of Lem-chan no matter what. To be in DlorW is to prioritize Lem-chan above all else. To be in DlorW is to humor Lem-chan with laughter for all her jokes. To be in DlorW is to not impersonate Lem-chan. Impersonators shall not be tolerated. To be in DlorW is to avoid all disputes about Lem-chan at all costs. That is all.
全肯定ねえ。
Why not? Sure, I promise to cherish her, but not like that, of course. The admission form asks for some personal information, but obviously only junk's going in there. Oh, and I'm also behind several stepping stones to cover my raw IP, not pulling any stops here. Registering under the handle name of Inanna. Inanna is the Sumerian name for the Ishtar of Babylonian myth. The same as Ishtar, yet at the same time not. A fitting name for who I am now.
あれれ?
Suddenly noticed something after finishing registration and returning to the homepage. The DlorW animation. The letters periodically spin around and change to a seemingly random order, but it looks like it's actually reversing the spelling, like a mirror. DlorW, world, DlorW. Like that. So DlorW is world backwards, huh? Obviously. It was in Western society where world first began to be defined as everywhere that our human intellect reaches. Therefore, the world grew bigger with each geographical discovery made by the West. Before long, the continent of North America was discovered, and it came to be called the New World. The 21st and final card of the Grand Arcana in Tarot. Normally, it shows the goddess of the earth surrounded by leaves, with 4 beasts watching over her. It is interpreted as completion and pre-established harmony. Also refers to planets in space, but not the universe or cosmos as a whole. The Earth, Moon, Mars, and the third planet of Alpha Centauri are all different worlds. Wait, third planet of Alpha Centauri? I don't think we know of any planet. No, whatever. It's like EDOC and code. The infinite and eternal paradise part of the slogan on the homepage seems to be making more and more sense. If we consider the world to be a symbol of reality and the finite, that would make the opposite of that fiction and the infinite, eternity. This saying is probably entwined with the fact that Lem has been set to be forever 14. To go even further, this saying may also even be connected to the message, "Our love for Lem-chan is eternal." In the end, have the members of DlorW found their paradise exactly as they desired it to be? That's something only they know. Refocusing on the forum.
これはすごいわね。
This forum is exploding. Considering there must be several lurkers, it's impossible to tell just how many people are actually accessing the site, but things are so busy here that as soon as someone posts, it only takes a few seconds before a response comes in, and then the log starts filling up just like that. Despite being a forum, it's almost as fast as a chat room. Their status as a fan club for a virtual idol may say otherwise, but this is really nothing to look down upon. Their 100 million and counting hit meter just isn't just for show, huh?
とりあえずざっと拝見しましょうか。
This forum system uses a multi-threaded model where each topic starts a new thread. The downside to this system is that it's a little complex, but in exchange, several topics can be opened at the same time and each topic can be looked up. Just as expected, the forum's flooded with threads dedicated to praising Lem-chan. Announcements of Lem-chan related events and people bragging about first-hand encounters with Lem-chan. I'll have to sort through all the information that's meaningless to me to find information that's important to me. It's nauseating just thinking about it. Doesn't it have a search function?
やれやれ、これは時間かかりそうね。
About an hour or so later, several facts have been made clear from checking the forum. The group has this officer position they call Sin, who is always appointed by Lem-chan on the new moon. Also, the pattern of Lem-chan's appearances is affected by the moon's age cycle. Her activity is most intense during the full moon, or at least that's what they say. Surprisingly, Andras is the one who's been appointed as the current Sin. Andras.
そういえば。
I suddenly get curious and take a quick look at the live camera. The full moon shines in the heavens above.
あれ？変だな。
Wasn't it a full moon on the day Lem-chan came to visit? Or did it only feel like that? Or has it already been a whole cycle of days since then?
今は一体いつなんだろう。
This lifestyle devoid of days and nights has blurred the passage of time. According to the calendar, it's... Wait, here's an interesting post. Name, Lem... Lem can't seem to remember what Lem does when Mr. Moon is not in the sky, huh? Hehe.
レム、これは本人なの？
The DlorW agreement says to not impersonate Lem-chan. The DlorW members posting here don't seem like the type to violate that rule. It's not an issue of can or can't, it's something that they wouldn't even think of doing. And the OP even has a trip code attached. There's quite a high possibility that this Lem is the real deal. If that's the case, there might be some sort of hint to be found here. Lem-chan's post was in reply to a DlorW member. Say, Lem-chan, sometimes the things you say contradict each other things you've said, sometimes to the point that you seem like a completely different person. But that enigmatic error is just another one of your charming points, you know? In response to that statement, Lem-chan posted, Lem-chan can't seem to remember what Lem does. What does that mean?
そういえば。忘れたんじゃないよ。忘れたんじゃないよ。ちょっとキオスク掃除中になっただけ。
Lem-chan herself revealed that she was extremely forgetful, didn't she?
さっぱりわからない。
What exactly does this mean? Is it some kind of hint to decode the meaning behind the words an una yet also a null?
二人いる？ひょっとしてレムちゃんは複数存在するってこと？
No, of course not. Babylon doesn't allow multiples of the same account. And besides, fairy shadows are very difficult to make, at least for non-EDOC staff members. Or does this have something to do with Asher, the final scenario?
いや、それも違うわね。私が会ったレムちゃんはバビロンの外で私に接触してきた。
It really doesn't seem likely that she's part of the game prepared by the managers. Let's think about this from a different perspective. There can't be two of them, but there is a Lem-chan that Lem-chan herself cannot grasp.
DID とか？
DID, dissociative identity disorder. One person, many personalities. No, that can't be it either. There's never been a shadow with those sorts of symptoms before. Not any unas, nor any nulls. Maybe if the player operating Lemchan, if there is one anyway, had DID themselves, then maybe, but based on Lemchan's roundabout messages, it doesn't seem like that's the case either. When Mr. Moon's not in the sky, she probably means during the new moon. Conditional DID where the personalities switch during the full moon? Sure, it's not completely impossible, but that just sounds like a werewolf.
もうダメ。この情報だけじゃ私には無理。
Guess I'm just not cut out to be a detective. Maybe the best way to figure this out would be to ask the fairy herself. I focus my attention on the thread's posts once again. The DlorW members who noticed Lemchan's posts have started to dance wildly about, posting things like, "The goddess is among us." And through all the chaos, another poster calmly responds with, "What do you mean by that?" Will Lemchan respond? I scroll down the log with bated breath. She did. But once again, Lemchan's response is rather mysterious. Well, Lem is Lem after all.
はて?
Perhaps there's some sort of wordplay here. I bring up an online dictionary and look up Remu. Röntgen equivalent man. An old unit of exposure dosage, named after Wilhelm Röntgen, the discoverer of X-rays. 1 rem of radiation is equivalent to the amount required to produce the same physiological effect as 1 Röntgen of X-ray radiation. In SI units, 1 rem is equal to 0.01 sieverts.
これは明らかに違うわね。
I move on to the next result. Rapid eye movement. An important factor in determining whether or not a subject is experiencing REM sleep. REM sleep is a state where people have dreams. Although someone in this state is in deep sleep, their brainwave activity is said to be like that of someone who is awake. One cycle of REM and NREM sleep is 90 minutes. In each of those 90-minute periods, people dream one dream. Una and null, 1 and 0, life and death, reality and dreams. Dreams are quite like the boundary of life and death. But wait, no, the spelling is wrong. Lemchan posted with the name Lem in Latin characters with an L. And Lemchan's site, Lem's Fortune Telling, is also spelled with a Latin L. REM sleep isn't the same Remu as Lem. So let's refine that search. Lem with an L only. LEM, Lunar Excursion Module. Another name for the Apollo Lunar Module, LM. The first LEM to reach space was launched in the Apollo 5 mission on January 22, 1968. LEM, a vessel for traveling to the moon, and LEM, who's influenced by the moon's age.
このドローのサイトの名前って
Lunar Excursion Module. That probably means this is the right one. Huh? Wait a minute. Looking this up feels like deja vu. But when was that? It was to help out Hinata with his crossword, wasn't it?
でも睡眠のレムじゃないんだ。
そうなんだ。文字数が合わないですね。じゃあこれですね。ちゃんと合ってる。月着陸船。
Those were peaceful times. It hasn't even been half a year since then, and yet it feels like it happened decades ago.
そういえばシンってバビロニアの月の神の名前じゃなかった？
Sin, also spelled Suen. The Babylonian god of the moon, god of time, god of fate. Sumerian name, Nana, occasionally Nana-ar, illuminator, or in Assyrian. The ziggurat was occasionally Sin's shrine.
やっぱりね。
Satisfied, I move to close the window when my hand suddenly stops.
これって、
Scene. A crime against morality or religion, to err, a transgression, heresy. I don't quite know why, but a strange sensation deep inside me gradually turns to discomfort. A strange sign, the god of the moon, sin, transgression, the fairy crowned with the name of the lunar excursion module, and the officer position of her fan club. Something, I don't know what or where, but something unbelievable seems to be happening. Something worse than anything I can imagine. But that aside, if anything's clear, it's that everything is tied to the keyword moon. LEM, by nature, is an entity from Babylon, but fairy-type shadows can't be legally registered by players, meaning it's highly probable that LEM's player is either from Babylon's former management, Anunnaki, or the current management, Edok, or at least someone with connections to either group. I rejected that possibility earlier, but if her player came in contact with the management for a real-life reason rather than an in-game reason, then the possibility is valid. According to my research, the core members of Anunnaki each took the name of a Babylonian god as their handle, and the Babylonian god of the moon is Sin. Therefore, if we find out who the original Sin is, that is, the first person who used that handle, and where that person is, we should be able to solve the problem. But,
弱ったわね。
according to an earlier investigation, Sin was a member who joined Anunnaki just before its collapse, the genius programmer behind the construction of the IO system. However, access to any information beyond that is heavily restricted, or perhaps thoroughly erased, so there's been no luck finding anything further than that. In that case,
内部に侵入するしかないわね。
I immediately commenced posting on the DlorW forum.
最初はまず、はじめまして、と。ん？
Another computer terminal starts displaying an alert. Isn't that...
これ、まだ生きてたんだ。
It's the spyware that One-sama planted into Andras back in the good old days. Its name, Lemchan's little none of your business. A tool that detects any information containing specific keywords like code or sin and sends tapped audiovisual data directly to criminal.
でも確かこれってコードに見つかって停止させられたんじゃ。それになんでこの端末に情報が送られてくるの？
Things would still make sense if it were sending the data to the computer at One-sama's apartment, but whose magic is at work here? The first name to come to mind is he, but there's no logical reason for him to do this sort of thing. Another possibility is Lemchan, but
確かにこの間レムちゃんがここにやってきた時、何かを仕掛けていったらしい素振りはあったけど。
can't say whether she did or not, though. Still kind of embarrassing, all things considered. But even if it was Lemchan that did it, there really isn't a logical reason for her to do so.
だとしたら。
I look behind my shoulder. Nobody's there. Nothing but empty space.
お姉様が。
That is my wish. That I have One-sama watching over me now. That I have her blessings. So I decide to believe that. According to the data coming in, Code will soon commence another terrorist attack. Andras belongs to both DlorW and Code. Time to put this information to good use.
ありがとう、お姉様。
A heartwarming feeling. Even if this isn't thanks to One-sama, the fact that I can persevere definitely is. Gripping the rosary, I send my gratitude to the dearly departed One-sama and devise the next step. Let's resume posting on the forum again. A message to Andras.
あたし、いなんな、よろしくね。あなた、レムちゃんについて、ずいぶん詳しいのね。秘密も知ってるって噂だし、有名よ。でもね、 私もレムちゃんの秘密を知ってるの。あなたの知らないような。ね。ねえ、よかったら今度会わない？いい返事待ってるわ。
A response comes almost immediately. What? Just who exactly are you? You're not thinking of setting me up, are you? I am Sin, you know. I'm under Lemchan's divine protection. Looks like you've grown cautious ever since that battle with Criminal. Guess you've grown a little. Well, guess there can't be any bad guys in DlorW that love Lemchan. Heh, just as planned. Fine, let's meet. You're a girl, right? If you're a guy in real life, I'll never forgive you. Changed my mind. Guess people don't grow up that easily. I reply, Roger, and designate a time and date. The same day as Code's D-Day.